Good morning. Hi, we are live. Good morning. Hi. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Thursday in the Girl About Travel Club community. We're going to be chatting with Lyndsey this morning. We're going to have a lovely, lovely chat to take our minds off what is actually going on here. We're going to just escape to Sri Lanka and hear all about what a fabulous destination it is. And it's at the top of my bucket list for a family adventure very soon. So I want to hear all about how it was with your family and what we should be doing, where we should be going, because I don't know about you, but I am totally looking forward to 2021, making plans, just dreaming.
Rebecca, what's going on? Listen, I think the one thing we've got to take from this next lockdown is we are allowed to dream, aren't we? We might not be able to travel, but we can dream, and we've got to keep dreaming. And for me, travel is the one thing that just, thinking about our next family adventure, even if it's 2022, it's the only thing that's going to keep me going. It really is. And I know that for some people, it might be deemed as being insensitive, but, this group is about people that love to travel, and we're here to inspire. That is our job, isn't it? So we're going to keep inspiring, and we've got some exciting stuff planned as well, haven't we, in this month to help with lockdown. So, but we'll tell you more about that, because I'm actually supposed to be in the hot seat and not taking over. It's quite difficult for me.
Let's see.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say you're right, that just we're just all about making plans, dreaming, and just allowing ourselves that, because we are travel addicts, and we will make it happen however we need to, because we're resourceful like that, aren't we? And it's that number one priority. As long as we've got our health, as they say, as long as we've got our health, then everything else is
all right.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
What about my mental health at the moment? That's struggling a bit. But even then, the one thing that really gets me out of that dark cloud, we're all in it, aren't we? Believe me, I can't afford to go on holiday right now. I'm not, I'm not trying to, we're not trying to rub people's noses in. I can't afford it. We're in the travel industry, we're absolutely penniless. But, I refuse to stop talking about what the future and what that holds and what that looks like. We've got to keep inspiring each other and inspiring everybody else and supporting the industry, because that's what we're doing as well by doing this. The travel industry is on its knees. The amount of Sri Lanka is a perfect example that relies heavily on tourism, international tourism. And it's really important that we keep these destinations alive, isn't it? Because
completely. And they're so proud of their country as well. That's what I love about whenever you talk to anyone from Sri Lanka, they just want to show it off, and they can't at the moment. So it's really
and Sri Lanka's had such bad luck as well, because obviously, I probably shouldn't bring it up, but there was the terrorist attack, wasn't there, a couple of years ago? And I was in Sri Lanka months before that happened, and I would not hesitate to go back tomorrow. It was that incredible. And you get these attacks everywhere. Look what's going on right now in Europe, and again, I feel very sorry for them, because it's just been one thing after the other for them. And we have to look at it like that, don't we? We have to look that we're doing some good for the rest of the world.
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. So let's dive in. Let's kick things off. First, what drew you to Sri Lanka as a family? Why was Sri Lanka where you going?
Oh my God, Sri Lanka has always been somewhere I've wanted to go. It was our 10th wedding anniversary. I had 2 young kids. Teddy, I think Fern was about 4 at the time, and Ted had been 7, 8. 7. And I wanted to take them to see animals in their natural habitat. Now, we went to Kenya for our honeymoon, and we did the whole safari thing, and it was absolutely incredible. But I just felt they were a little bit too young for them to appreciate a full-on African safari. So I sort of started looking at destinations whereby they could see. I'm not a big fan of zoos. I'm not a big fan of animals being in anywhere but where they should be. And and I really wanted them to see that at a young age, to appreciate that. And I did a lot of research. We looked at Costa Rica, too young. We looked at the Philippines, but I desperately want to go over there and see the orangutans. But again, it's a long, long flight, too young. And Sri Lanka just kept coming up on the radar as a really great family-friendly destination. And at the time, it wasn't as popular as it was. The following year, it exploded, and that's probably totally wrong terminology because quite literally, it did explode. But well, let's wait for that. But you know what I mean. But it did. From a tourism perspective, it went mad, and it was just like the place to go. And then obviously when we went the year before, it wasn't quite that popular. However, it just, from what I was reading, I've always wanted to go to India. When we traveled around the world, me and my husband for a year, India was our last port of call, and we bypassed it because we just wanted to get home. We'd had enough. And I've always regretted not getting to India. And Sri Lanka was, for me, the next best thing to India. And when I started to read up about Sri Lanka, it's very similar to India, but they call it like the clean version of India. You're not going to go probably and get Delhi belly like you might in India. You don't get hassled as much. This was what the feedback I was getting by, the Indians are quite, you jump off a bus, don't you? And they're all over you, which is like lots of parts of the world. And that's the joy of traveling, but Sri Lanka, there was a lot of sort of research to suggest that actually this was the destination for families that wanted that, that once in a lifetime, wildlife filled adventure, somewhere exotic that was still quite authentic, that was very, very safe, because that's obviously a real important thing for me is safety, because I don't want to be cooped up in a hotel. I want to get out and I want to see the destination. So safety, the association with India and all of that exoticness, and the price as well. I mean,
really? How much were you looking at? What were you looking at in total? Maybe we'll cover that at the end, but sort of
it was an anniversary, so it was going to be a big holiday. We'd planned it for a couple of years.
Cool.
We went all out completely. It cost a fortune. But saying that, we were also, for about 3 seconds, I considered Florida and Disney for about 3 seconds. The kids want to go. They, of course, we'll do it. We want to do it. But it was my wedding anniversary. My husband. No. And to do Disney like we did Sri Lanka would have cost 20 grand.
Wow.
If you stay in those types of hotels, one of which was on an all-inclusive basis, but again, we'll talk about that in a minute because it wasn't an all-inclusive in the the traditional sense. But what we did and where we stayed in 2 Relais and Chateau hotels or lodges. And Relais and Chateau is a really prestigious brand. If you stay in a Relais and Chateau in Europe, it would cost you hundreds, thousands maybe of pounds a night. But in Sri Lanka, it wasn't actually that bad. So overall, the holiday cost about 11 grand, but the value for money that we got was, it was bucket list and some. It really was what we did with, and that was everything. And we flew to Dubai and we topped and tailed it with Dubai.
Okay.
Because it broke the flights up, so it was with the kids. We didn't actually have to do any night flights. We flew from Manchester to Dubai on the 11 a.m. flight. We're in Dubai. 8 o'clock at night, I think we got there, checked into a hotel, stayed a couple of nights in Dubai, close to the airport, and then we flew on a day flight from Dubai to Sri Lanka, which is another 5 hours. So we didn't have any jet lag. Well, we had jet lag, but we didn't have any night flights, so that was good.
Oh, fantastic! Because so how did you book it all? Did you book it through a travel? Did you do it all personally?
No. So I did a lot of research, and at the time, there was a good friend of mine, an ex-boss of mine, had launched an organisation, a travel business called Insider Places, and their business model was bypass the big tour operators and put me in touch with those great little on-the-ground travel agents. So I was actually essentially booked through a company called Jet Wings, actually, that we're actually speaking to now, who are like a small a travel agency. I'm trying not to use too much jargon here. A small travel agency on the ground in Sri Lanka that organises Sri Lankan tours. But what Insider Places did, because they're ABTA bonded, they gave me the protection of booking through like a travel agent or a tour operator. So that's how I did it. But the research, I went to them and said, this is what I want to do. It wasn't, okay, you could do this. I'd already researched it fully myself. I knew what I wanted to do.
Okay. So what did you do? Where did you start off?
So we did Dubai for a couple of nights, but I won't go too much into that. And then we got to Colombo, which is the capital of Sri Lanka. Crazy, crazy city, you know, tuk-tuks and loads of dust and, you know, just all that. I love that. I love those. I love them. There's just nothing more. There's nothing that gives me more of a buzz than getting out of an airport door to that. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yes. I know exactly what you mean. That feeling of just like, wow, the chaos is brilliant.
I love it, love it. So we were picked up. So all our transfers were included. So we were picked up in a lovely, you know, leather-clad, nice. You know, the roads are crap, by the way. You know, I mean, Colombo, and it is bum bum bum. But we're in a lovely, nice vehicle with a driver. Picked us up. So he had a little board when we got there, and then we drove. And then our first port of call was we were going to the Wild Coast Lodge in Yala. Now Yala is the national park where you can go for the elephants and the leopards and various other wildlife, but it's the elephants and the leopards that are the main draw. So that drive was about 6 hours. It was a long drive. So actually going and doing Dubai and having that break really helped, because I think if we'd have got off like a 9-hour flight, been on a plane overnight, and then had to have done that 6 hours, it would have been a killer. But we did it, and it was fine. And you know, we did it in a whole, you know, we got from Sri Lanka to Yala. We got from Dubai on the plane to Yala in a day. Yeah, and then we got checked into Wild Coast Lodge, which was it had only been open about 6 months. We actually checked in with Ben Fogle and his wife. Incredible. I've just posted a video actually just before this morning on the group. So if anybody's interested, then they can, you know, you can go back and watch that. But it's basically called Wild Coast Tented Lodge. It's Relais and Chateau, and it is basically a lodge, an open lodge in the middle of the park, which means an elephant can wander through anytime. They're all luxurious tents with copper baths and this incredible pool with all this great. It's really small. It's not very big. With all these they're like pods, just crazy little pods dotted in the jungle, but you're right by the sea as well, and it's all inclusive, but it's all inclusive Relais and Chateau. So again, on the little video I've posted this morning, shows you some of the food. I mean, it is like gourmet 3 times a day. You know, all the alcohol was included, including French champagne. And so in that sense, you know, it was about, I think it worked out about 400 quid a night for all 4 of us, all inclusive, which actually isn't bad, is it? You know, you compare that with a hotel in London.
Oh God, you know, compare what you could spend, £400 on a hotel in London. You get a box room.
It might be a little bit more than that. It might be about 600 actually, but whatever it was,
it felt good.
It was like, and actually it wasn't 400 a night. It must have been a bit more than that. Yeah, thinking about it, but it was still, you know, it was still, wow, it was still, you know, like incredible, and what we got, and then that included, you know, 2 a morning and an evening safari. So you know, they'll take you out into the park, and you know, the kids, elephants came right up to us, and the kids saw the elephants, and Fern saw a rabbit. That was the highlight. Ted got excited. We saw crocodiles, so Ted got very excited about that. There was loads of great wildlife, but the accommodation
so close to the sea as well. So you get the wildlife
right by the sea. Yeah. So then we went on a safari by the sea where it was all like hippo and stuff like that. I think it was hippo, something, you know, watery. But yeah, just incredible. The place, I don't even want to call it a hotel because it's not a hotel. It's like a tented. I mean, Ben Fogle was there, you know, with his wife. Was it all? I mean, the kids were in the pool with their kids, and it's quite small as well. And yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah. So we spent 3 nights there, and then we drove back up the coast, back towards Colombo, about halfway to a beach, an area called Waligama, which is the most southern tip of the
Oh,
tea
okay.
shape of the island, and we stayed in the Cape Welligama resort, which was another Relay and Chateau property, which I probably wouldn't stay in again because it was incredible, very expensive, but just too much for us. It was very French chic. It was very, 6-foot French women walking around, and then there's me, And it was one of those hotels where, that sort of, where they're there, or you're sat there on your sunbed, and I know that this is the epitome of luxury, but it freaks me out a bit when you move your head and somebody's over by you, like what do you want? And I just want them to, I just want them to sit down and just fine. You don't need to be. I'm fine. So I found myself making quite a lot of excuses to these poor people all the time. No, it's fine. We're all right. So it was very, very, uber posh, amazing. And the great thing about Relay and Chateau is because they're French, they're super kid friendly. So they just, it's not like posh hotels where you're like, Ted Fern, don't touch. It's super kid friendly. And same with Wild Coast. They absolutely love the kids, and the Sri Lankans love children, and the Sri Lankan children love children. So it was so brilliant. And
so when everyone's sitting down together for meals and that sort of thing, it's not like, you can have there's no sort of like, oh, kids, you have to be shunted off over there.
It depends on, what culture you were sat next to. There was one family, I don't know what they were. I can't remember where they were from. They might have been South African, but they had, that's their choice. They had all their nannies with them. So there was like the parents at one side, and then at the bottom there was like all the nannies with all the kids. We were just fine. But with Wild Coast, it was great because the swimming pool is right next to where you sit and have your breakfast. So the kids were just, we were having our breakfast and they were just jumping in the pool. So it didn't feel like, come on, kids, you're in a restaurant now. It was very, very relaxed. Wild Coast, Welligama, not so much. That was quite posh.
Yeah.
But Welligama was about a 10-minute tuk-tuk ride, and we didn't take any taxis. We just tuk-tuked all over, apart from the big transfers. It was great. We actually found a little tuk-tuk driver that I'm actually still friends with now on Facebook.
Oh, brilliant.
Pulled up from the side of a road. He was like 18, and we just used him for 7 days in Welligama and Marissa. Just text him, can you come pick us up and take us? Went down to Dal, which is like the main, the main sort of town, 45 European looking, crazy looking town for the middle of Sri Lanka. And we went everywhere. Went to there's just about 10 minutes down the road from where we're staying is a turtle sanctuary. So the kids got to release turtles into the wild. What else did we do? We went on an amazing catamaran trip from again, just not far from where we're staying, and there was literally like 100 dolphins. We were chasing 100 dolphins, or they were chasing us. That was incredible.
Wow.
So it was just fabulous. And then literally like a 10-minute tuk-tuk drive from where we were staying, there was a beach called Marissa, which is actually really well-known, popular beach. It's got this crazy rock formation called Parrot Rock, and it is. And we only really discovered it like 2 days before we came home, because we spent the first few days in the hotel, eating in the hotel. And then we thought, we've got to get out of this hotel. Let's go, let's go. Yeah. And so we ended up down on Marissa. And it's like Ibiza. It was just awesome. It was like just incredible, like real music banging out, loads of restaurants, beach bars, and it was like the vibe was like, people like me and Ian that would have gone to Ibiza are now going there with the kids and, reliving it. It was just awesome. Amazing.
God, I wouldn't have expected that at all. That sounds a lot of fun. You just, cool.
Yeah, totally. Really cool. And if I went back, I'd stay on Marissa Beach. Totally. Yeah.
Did you go inland at all then? Or were you...
No. And you know what? No, we didn't. And I would have loved to, but I think we were just trying to get that balance of the kids and, the kids want a swimming pool at the end of the day, don't they? That's all they want. So for me, doing too much touring with them, however much I'd love to have seen more of, the inland of the parks and that big rock, the tea plantations. I had to get that balance between them and us, really. And
well, you don't want to be in a car all the time, do you?
No, and you just end up doing loads of traveling. They loved the pool. We had great pools. They loved the turtles. They loved the animal watching. They loved banging around in a tuk-tuk, that was for them.
Yeah.
And we got to enjoy the more finer side of Sri Lanka, I suppose, and the food. I mean, the curries, wow, and it was just awesome. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Is there anything you do differently then? Maybe not stay at that. Maybe stay somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would have chosen a different. If I did, I would. I mean, you were interviewing a lady in the travel club on Tuesday from boutiques in Sri Lanka, and she went through a few hotels, and if I'd have been able to have watched that before I'd have gone. I think the worry is with somewhere like that where you don't know the destination, and you're not going, and you're not chatting to somebody that like a Sri Lankan specialist, that you get there and it's that anxiety, isn't it, around God, what am I going to get when I get there, and as the lady said on your talk the other day, there are, and this happens in these destinations. I mean, there's hotels claiming to be luxury, and you get there and they're clearly not, either. So I just went for the most expensive hotel I could find, basically. European terms was still wasn't, it wasn't as expensive as maybe one would assume. And when you do stay in places like that, they're one amazing. I mean, the bathroom was like a house with a big, massive like roll top in the middle of it, and the bedrooms. Because when you are somewhere like that, it was so hot and it's so humid. Sometimes the kids you just want to go and watch TV on an evening when you've had a really crazy day, don't you? You don't necessarily want to be, So having a really lovely room was important to us because we had the kids and we knew we'd probably be in it. Yeah. I mean, the minibar as well. I mean, it is just free reign, when you stay in hotels like that. Wonderful. So if you like a drink like me and Ian, I mean, we probably did half the holiday cost in booze out the minibar. We had a bottle of champagne at Wild Coast Lodge probably twice a day, all included. It was like, this is fab,
fantastic value.
It was amazing, yeah.
Oh lush! Oh, brilliant. Were the kids okay with the food? Were they all right with like all the curries and stuff, or did they?
In international hotels, I mean, in hotels like that, they'll cook up anything you want, really. Yeah, I mean, my kids are pretty good anyway. They'll eat most things, they'll try most things, but there were plenty of pies, plenty of fruit, plenty of plenty of prawns and stuff like that. Lots of seafood. They love seafood, so there was loads of choice. So they're fine. Yeah.
Cool. So what was their highlight then? Was it the animals for them, or the swimming pool?
I don't know, because not kids alike. Fern probably would say the rabbit. I mean, that's you know what it's like. You think you're taking them somewhere amazing, and then their memory is probably. I mean, the flying around in that tuk-tuk. They just love. They love that. They love all that craziness, and I suppose releasing those baby turtles, the dolphins. I mean, that was, and just seeing the elephants in the wild just there. I can't wait to take them to Africa, but I still think they're a little bit young. But that's definitely now. I want to take them to South Africa next and do the garden route and Kruger and all of that. Ian wants to go shark diving, so that's the next big one. Yeah, definitely. But I would go back to Sri Lanka tomorrow. It was fabulous.
Excellent.
Such humble, beautiful people. They really are.
So did you then just head back to Colombo and fly out, or did you spend
Colombo after 7 days? And I think most people would have probably not spent 7 days over. They would have broken it up and gone maybe inland, because then you can do the roads allow you to do that. But we didn't. Is it a bit of a regret? Maybe, yeah. Did the kids care? No, they were in a pool for 7 days. Could we have been in a pool in anywhere? Yes, we could have been, but still, it was amazing. So we went back to Colombo, and then we went back via Dubai again and had another night in Dubai at the hotel. The great thing about Dubai, the airport hotels are incredible. So they've got pools, so you can just go sit in with them for the day. So we did that, and then flew back. Amazing, just fab, brilliant.
Perfect. Sounds gorgeous. Okay, you got me. I'm sold. I'm going. Katrina says good morning, and she's another Sri Lanka fan as well. So
we'll have to get Katrina on the show and talk to her about Sri Lanka.
Yeah, definitely.
Katrina, we'll drag you in this month maybe and grill you on it from a maybe a child-free perspective as well. I mean, there's incredible places to go inland that we didn't get to that would have been awesome, but it's just having the time.
Unless you're going to go somewhere for like 2 months or something, you're just not going to.
You need that. If you to travel around that country would just be awesome. Yeah, I wish I'd have known Sri Lanka existed when we went travelling 15 years ago now. On my list, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks, Lyndsey. It's really good to hear all the gorgeousness. Love it.
I have inspired somebody out there to think about Sri Lanka, especially with families, because it's such a great place for families. And it is what you get. You know, we could have stayed in a four-star hotel and it'd have cost us $5,000 for 2 weeks. You know, we chose to stay in the top end hotels of hotels, and that was my choice, mainly because I didn't really know otherwise. So
the woman I was talking to in the club, Dravi from Boutiques in Sri Lanka, she said her luxury, the places she represents, they start from about $100 a night for what she calls as luxury. And
you don't know. You'd be a bit worried. I mean, when you're with kids, if you're on your own without the kids, you don't care, do you? You'll spend $150 a night. But for me, it was so important that our rooms were so incredible, because I knew we were going to be spending time in them. I just went with what I knew. And that really is really ironic, because actually what we're trying to do in this club and what we're trying to do here with Girl About is move people away from those bigger you know, hotels and into those hidden gems. So it's really important that we work with people like Dhruva, what's her name? Druvi, to unearth these places that people don't necessarily know exist, to put them in front of our Girl About audience. That is exactly, you know, another reason why this is so important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, interestingly, Katrina said, look, she spent they spent £4,000 for 11 days.
You can't go to Spain for that, can you? Not really, not unless you're in some really crummy apartment somewhere. You cannot go to Spain for that. And a $4,000 holiday in Sri Lanka, if you know where you're going, would be an amazing, still luxury holiday, you know, in the experiential sense. And you'd still get a really lovely hotel for that. I just chose to stay in Reliant Chateau, which you're probably paying another $1,000 on top of, just because you said you stayed there, aren't you, really? So
well, thank you for doing that, because I'm going to learn from you and you know, do it for half the price. Sorry.
You will be able to. You'll be able to do it less than that. I mean, but you know, and there's some other tips as well that I won't go into now, but like with the catamaran tour, for example, you know, we went on the catamaran tour on the hotel boat, and we got to we got to the port, and we were walking down the port, and the boats, I mean, they were like, you would not put your kids on them. They were like packed out, you know, like they were rocking. And I was like, Ian, we can't get on this boat. Anyway, we kept walking and walking, and all the boats were numbered, and we kept walking and walking. And right at the end, there was this massive, proper posh, like multi-million-pound catamaran, and we're like, please. And we got there's like 4 of us on it, you know, we were cameranging and watching these boats of people like tourists, like back trying to get to the sides to try and watch all these dolphins, you know. So, you know, again, cheap is cheap in Sri Lanka, like lots of places. You go cheap, you get cheap. So it's about knowing. I think it's about understanding the right budget, isn't it, to get you to that over that threshold, really, and then you know you're on a winner. So amazing.
Fantastic. All right, well, thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone, as well. It was really good to just have a bit of escapism. Thank you.
And tuning in on replay then, and you've got questions, put them below. As I mentioned earlier, there is a bit of a video on the Girl About Travel community feed that I posted before this. So there's some pictures of the incredible food and just the incredibleness of Sri Lanka. Fabulous.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Don't let lockdown get you down.
No. Good. Nice catchphrase.
You're like, don't let lockdown get you down. I can see that on Boris's sticker on his thing next week. Don't let lockdown get you down. And Katrina, thanks for tuning in as ever.
Nice to see you.
There you go. You had a tuk-tuk and a drive of the day, cost 15 quid, covered almost 100k. There you go. Honestly, the amount of people you can get in those tuk-tuks as well. There were 4 of us on that back seat. It's fabulous. I love a tuk-tuk. I love a tuk-tuk. See you later. Thank you. We'll see you next week, next Thursday, when another. I'm taking over now. I'm taking over the host. Another holiday lockdown live. I've just called it. Maybe we should. All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Rebecca. Bye.
No, thank you.